What's up, Mr. Be Active here, and in this video I'm going to share with you the way in which we help our students with their exercise selection. Now, a lot of people, when they think of choosing exercises, they think about, okay, I want to work my biceps, so what's an exercise that trains the biceps? I want to work my quads. What trains the quads? That's just fine if you're maybe dealing with trying to focus in on an area that's maybe been struggling for a bit, or you've got more of a hypertrophy focused or bodybuilding focused workout. But when we're looking at general fitness, there's another way that we can approach it. Instead of focusing on individual muscles, we focus on movements. And so at my school, what we like to use is called the Fundamental Movement 5 or the FM5. This is a way of grouping exercises or movements into 5 basic categories and then finding the exercises that fall under them. Okay? So when we look at upper body training, there's 2 categories we have. There's pushing movements and there's pulling movements. So think about that for a second. What would be a pushing movement and what would be a pulling movement? Well, for pushing would be things like push-ups, bench press, overhead press. We're using muscles like our pectoral group, our anterior medial delts, our triceps. Those are the main muscles being used. In life, we push ourselves up off the ground. We push a door open. We push a car out of the snow, push something overhead, connects well. The second category, the pulling, would be things like bent over row, lat pull down, chin-ups, using our posterior deltoids, our rhomboids, our lats, our traps, our biceps. We pull ourselves up over a fence, out of the pool. We pull things towards us, help somebody off the ground. Those are pulling actions. So these are 2 ways that we can simplify those upper body exercises to make sure that we get a well-rounded workout by including both pushing and pulling exercises in our workout. Now, when we look at the lower body, there's 2 categories. We have our knee-dominant exercises and our hip-dominant exercises. In our knee-dominant exercises, we're looking at exercises and movements that have a big knee bend or a bigger knee bend and knee action. They're generally focusing on the quadriceps group and our glutes. So exercises like squats, lunges, lateral squats, most step-ups would fall under this category. You can already connect this to actions that we do in real life, okay? The second category is hip dominant. These would be exercises like any deadlift variation, glute bridges, and hip thrusts. These focus more on the hamstrings group and the glute muscles. So between these 2 exercise categories, it certainly is a spectrum, and you'll find some movements that definitely fall more in between, but a lot of the exercises are a little bit more knee dominant and a little bit more hip dominant. Again, trying to create a well-rounded workout, we want to make sure those hamstrings get some attention, those quadriceps get attention, we get quality movement through our hips and our knees, and of course our glutes are getting a lot of work. The last category that we have here is kind of the one that unites them all, and that's the core. The exercises around the trunk, kind of muscles under the armpits, below the pecs, to our hips. These are our stabilizing exercises. We're trying to stabilize the spine, avoid unwanted movement through particularly our lumbar spine. So these exercises would be things like our plank, our push-up hold, side plank, dead bug, bird dog, pal-off press, the list goes on. It's less of twisting and bending actions and more of stabilizing through the spine. Heavy carries would fall under this as well. Great exercise. So the core connects to all of these because when we have a stable, sturdy core trunk area, we're able to do more with these other movements. So this is the basics of the FM5, the 5 general movement categories. Now, we actually call this the FM5 Plus because what is missing from this categorization with these 5 movements are some exercises that a lot of us use and are very beneficial. So we actually have another category in the plus called assistance exercises. So assistance doesn't diminish these exercises, it just means that they need to come along the journey with these other particular exercises. So assistance exercises for the upper body would be things like bicep curls. That would fall under pulling. The biceps are involved in our pull-ups, our rows, all of those actions. We can support those by doing bicep curls or any type of bicep focused exercises. With our pushing, it might be something like tricep pushdowns. Back to pulling, it might be a band pull apart, focusing on those rhomboids, those muscles between your shoulder blades. Looking at our lower body, for our knee dominant exercises, perhaps it would be a knee extension exercise on the extension machine, or using a med ball squeezed between our ankles as we extend our legs. Hip dominant could be hamstring curls, using sliders on the ground, or using a hamstring curl machine. Those all assist in supporting the bigger movements that we're doing. Now, there are also exercises that kind of, for the lower body particular, don't fall under either category. That would be something like calf raises or tibialis raises that are super beneficial in safeguarding our legs, our ankles, our knees, our hips, but don't fall under one of these categories. But again, come along the journey with our big movements in our lower body training, and in fact, support those movements. So this is the structure that we use in helping students create their workouts. Something I should add is there are a lot of ways that people approach this, and people categorize these a little bit differently than what we do, and that's cool. We just found that this works with our students. One thing of note, particularly for the lower body, you'll see some people have a separate category that's just single leg exercises. We haven't done that because those single leg exercises will fall under knee dominant or hip dominant. And we don't generally talk about single leg until we get to classes like our strength and conditioning class in grade 11 and 12, where we want them to really understand that as they create their own workouts. For our lower grades, of course, we incorporate those in their workout, but we don't delineate that from these categories, because generally we're the ones making the workouts for them. The only thing to add to this, something else that falls in the plus when creating something like a circuit workout for your class, would be cardiovascular exercises. They don't really fall under any particular category. They're full body, they're not generally against resistance, and they're just about getting the heart rate up. So, that was a bit of a spiel I gave you there, but that's the way that we break down, categorize movements for creating workouts. Again, focusing on movement less than focusing on singular muscles to help create the bigger picture. I hope that's helpful. We'll see you in the next video.